Obviously, we started off slow tonight, and it gave Portland's guys a lot of confidence. But I give our guys credit because they went out and righted the ship as the game went along. And so, any win you can get at this point of the year is a really, really good team win, if not a great team win. We know that tomorrow night we ain't gonna be able to start that slow and get a win like we did tonight. So we got to come in and try to be 1 point for as close to 48 minutes as possible against the Clippers because they're right on our heels. So big test for us tomorrow night after in a back-to-back situation. A lot of good performances from our guys. I thought our bench, first of all, overall did a nice job coming in and getting stops, getting the crowd back into the game and playing with the right energy to get us over the hump. TD was fantastic. He was pretty good defensively. Offensively, he was great. He stepped up, hit some big timely shots for us without hesitating. And Malik was really good. I thought Malik was great getting downhill, taking right shots, and putting a lot of pressure on Portland, especially in transition. And then a little bit more on a quiet note, Trey and Mezzi and Davion were really good for us as well. When you talk about our two All-Stars, obviously Sabonis with a triple-double. I think he's the all-time leader now in sack history when it comes to triple-doubles. So whale of a game from him, especially on the glass. And then Foxy. We needed guys to step up and score. He did it, made the game look easy. And just like Domas, he's the all-time leader right now in consecutive 30-point games, right? Yeah. Right? So those two guys did what they were supposed to do in a situation like tonight. And at the end of the day, it's a good team win.
Mike, you touched on it a little bit already, but how do you balance the frustrations of that 16-point hole to start versus the team's ability to quickly come back in midway through the second quarter and tie that game back up?
Well, you hope that it's a situation where there's just a little rush from the All-Star break, but we'll see tomorrow. If you think about it, it's what I've been saying all along. We have to get more consistent, especially defensively, because we had 4 points for at least 8 minutes of that first quarter. That's what it seemed like. But somehow, some way, we still managed 133 points. So we can score. It's not about that for us. It's about whether or not we're going to commit to it defensively for as close to 48 minutes as possible, at least being consistent with it. And our guys played better after that first quarter on that end of the floor.
Mike, with coming out of the All-Star break, with you guys having a game tomorrow, is this kind of I know you don't like the way it started, but is this kind of the type of game you needed, where your starters played minimal minutes, but they still got a good workout in, and then you move on to another game where it's going to be much tougher?
In terms of especially with the amount of games we have in a short time span, anytime you can get rest, you welcome that. But at this point in the year, you want to trend upwards going into the playoffs, and so some of the mistakes that we made early on, you hope to avoid, and so it's more that than anything else. I'd like to get to a point where we're not making some of the same mistakes as we have, and get a little bit more consistent in that area. And if we do, we'll be able to get guys rest naturally, because I think we're going to always be able to score.
Like we ask you a lot of questions about Fox and Domas throughout the season, but given they set those marks that you mentioned, Fox with the 5 straight 30-point games and Domas with the 7 triple-doubles, just what do those marks mean to you? I know you're not going to reflect on the season right now, but what do they mean to you, And is there anything else behind the scenes about what those guys do that stands out that you haven't already elaborated to us?
No, they're huge. They're huge from the standpoint that we're sitting in third place in a really tough Western Conference. And for those guys to break franchise records like they're breaking just proves that much more that they deserve to be all-stars. You know, deserve to be mentioned with the upper echelon players in the league, whether it's first, second, third team All-NBA. They have to continue getting recognition because of where we are as a team. And breaking franchise records, like historically, while we're sitting in third place, again, proves how valuable they are to what we're trying to accomplish as a group this year. So, you know, those things we don't take lightly, and I hope not just the fans and the media here in Sacramento, but I hope people around the league and across the country that are NBA fans don't take those things lightly, because they should mean something when a team is winning at the level that we are right now. So, you know, on top of that, they're two guys that are growing in the leadership space, and I think that I truly believe the further along we get, that's going to be just as important or impactful for us as a group as what they do statistically, because I'm going to challenge them, and not just those two, I'm going to challenge the team in certain ways that they haven't been challenged this year, and I may not help find a way out of it. And so those two guys are going to have to step up and take the lead in that area and figure it out. Because for us to take the next step, it's going to have to come from them. I can't get them over the hump and tell them what to do every time we hit adversity or any type of problem that's in front of them.
Yeah, Coach, TD had a pretty up and down first quarter, a couple turnovers, and then you see like a nice and one finish, and I think some other buckets in there as well. How do you go about feeling out when is the right time to look in a different direction, or when to keep rolling with them?
You know, it's a gut feel, 8 out of 10 times, and usually if he's taking the right shots and at least giving the right effort defensively while not making a ton of mistakes, then I'm going to leave him. Turnovers happen every once in a while, missed shots happen every once in a while, but his game plan discipline has to be on point. He has to know what we're doing schematically when it comes to coverages. And if he is doing that while trying to do little things, getting after loose balls and rebounding and stuff like that, then I'll leave him. But the times that I pulled him this year usually resulted in him missing not just one assignment, but maybe a second assignment in a short amount of time, and sometimes a third assignment, and that's what I usually pull him, because he's more than a capable scorer. He's strong, he's athletic, and he's a capable rebounder too.
Coach Brown, going back to that first quarter, you're usually, quick on the gun as far as calling timeouts. I think the league got out to 17-4 before you called a timeout. What were you trying to gauge during that time, just to see if your team would respond real quick, or just?
Yeah, it's a little bit what I said a little earlier. The fact that these guys got to figure it out. They gotta figure out what they need to say to one another throughout the course of a ball game when we have some sort of adversity, and I can't be the one always trying to solve the problem. And you guys know it. I mean, if you have a group of individuals and they're able to police and coach and whatever themselves, that's a lot better than hearing my voice all the time. My voice can only take them so far, and sooner or later it's got to come from within, especially from within with our leadership. And right now is the time, because when we get in the playoffs, we're gonna hit some adversity, and I ain't gonna have enough timeouts versus those good teams in a 7-game series to fix all the problems all the time. So they got to figure it out a lot of the times, starting now.
guys. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, Coach.
Oh, you good? I'm on.
Please.